The federal government, I just specified it, we are on Israel's side, which does not mean that we share all the decisions made by the government of Israel. And I think I have already said this on numerous occasions. Regarding the issues now being raised at the European level, we are going to make a joint decision in the coming days. There will be a session of the German Parliament next week in Berlin. So next week we are going to deliberate on these issues within the federal government, and I suppose that afterwards there will be a German position at the informal council on the 1st of October in Copenhagen.
Regarding the proposal of the President of the European Commission, the position of the government of Spain is clear. We agree. In fact, we have been requesting for over a year that the European Commission suspend the strategic association agreement between the European Union and Israel, for understanding that one of the most important articles was being violated, which is the article of respecting international humanitarian law by the government of Israel. Secondly, I do want to make several things clear. First, the people of Spain are friends of the people of Israel. We are. I had the opportunity to be in Jerusalem a few months after the terrible attack by Hamas. I condemned the attacks by Hamas on behalf of the government of Spain and have since demanded the release of all the hostages that Hamas has who are Israeli. In this meeting, in addition to addressing the strengthening of our bilateral relationship, we have also agreed on a shared conviction, and that is we need a stronger and therefore more united European Union.
What does that mean? First, unity around the challenge posed by Putin's invasion of Ukraine.
Respect for international law, respect for international legality, for the territorial integrity of nations, for a nation like Ukraine, which wants to freely decide its future and belong to the European Union.
In our case, we express it when we talk about the crisis in the Middle East and the suffering currently being endured by the Gazan population.
I also want to acknowledge that Germany, throughout all this time, ALDENA has affirmatively supported United Nations General Assembly resolutions urging Israel, the government of Prime Minister Netanyahu, to cease violence, to allow access to humanitarian aid,
and to move towards a political horizon of resolving this crisis, for example, with the two-state solution.
If there is something that a society unites us as well, above all, and as Democrats, it is the shared rejection of extremism, and that has also been the subject of our conversation.
I conclude these brief words before yielding the floor to Chancellor Merz. I conclude by saying that Germany and Spain will continue to deepen their ties and commit to more Europe. That message of unity is the most powerful one we can convey to our fellow citizens right now.
And by the way, also to those countries, those governments that intend to divide us and weaken our common project.
The European Union is a success story that continues to inspire not only our fellow citizens, but also a large part of the world. Let us defend its legacy with conviction, with courage, with coherence from two great strongholds like our countries, Spain and Germany.
We need more quantity for the European arms industry to be more effective with a high number, that is, with a greater quantity, so that this is more effective and to reduce our dependence on other producers. And third, we have to continue supporting Ukraine. I am very grateful, I wanted to say it very explicitly, for this great convergence of our vision of the war in Ukraine and that together we can do more to end this war. Because Russia is not only a threat to Ukraine, Russia is a threat for Germany, for Spain in the same way. Tonight we will also talk about the situation in the Middle East. We share great concern for the humanitarian situation in Gaza and the current ground offensive by the Israeli armed forces in the city of Gaza. And also, we fear that there may be steps towards annexation in the West Bank, which would make the two-state solution even more difficult. And we want the two-state solution to be a possibility. But this is no secret, and I would like to say it clearly that we draw different conclusions. For the federal government, the question of recognizing a Palestinian state is not on the table today. For us, such recognition should be one of the last steps on the path to a two-state solution. Let's talk openly about all these topics. It is no surprise that there might be a divergence of viewpoints related to Germany's history. In recent days, I have already mentioned it in Germany, but one thing is clear. It must be possible to criticize the policy of the Israeli government, but it should never become something that is used to incite hatred against Jewish people, and we both agree on that. Dear Pedro Sanchez, the federal government, I just specified it, we are on Israel's side, which does not mean that we share all the decisions made by the government of Israel. And I think I have already said this on numerous occasions. Regarding the issues now being raised at the European level, we are going to make a joint decision in the coming days. There will be a session of the German Parliament next week in Berlin. So next week we are going to deliberate on these issues within the federal government, and I suppose that afterwards there will be a German position at the informal council on the 1st of October in Copenhagen.
Regarding the proposal of the President of the European Commission, the position of the government of Spain is clear. We agree. In fact, we have been requesting for over a year that the European Commission suspend the strategic association agreement between the European Union and Israel, for understanding that one of the most important articles was being violated, which is the article of respecting international humanitarian law by the government of Israel. Secondly, I do want to make several things clear. First, the people of Spain are friends of the people of Israel. We are. I had the opportunity to be in Jerusalem a few months after the terrible attack by Hamas. I condemned the attacks by Hamas on behalf of the government of Spain and have since demanded the release of all the hostages that Hamas has who are Israeli. We have suffered different forms of terrorism, and we know how to defeat terrorism. And of course, it is not defeated in the way Israel, the Netanyahu government, is doing. It is not defeated by carrying out an indiscriminate attack on the civilian population with more than 60,000 dead. The result of all this will not only be a more isolated Israel, but also a more insecure Israel, and of course a region much more insecure than it was before this terrible attack by Hamas 2 years ago. That is why I believe it is very important to convey to the government of Israel that its strategy is deeply mistaken, because it is not ensuring the safety of its citizens, and because it is worsening the situation not only for the Palestinian people, but also for the entire region.
Why does Spain speak of genocide in Gaza and Germany does not? Have positions come closer on this issue of genocide? What would have to happen, Chancellor, for Germany to speak like Spain of genocide in Gaza?
Regarding the first point, look, no, we have not entered into the into how to qualify what is happening. Chancellor Merz has explained what the position of the government of Germany is. I have explained the position of the government of Spain. There have been various reports from commissions, for example, from the United Nations this very week, that indeed classify what is happening in Gaza as genocide, or also, as I have recalled on some other occasion, 82% of Spanish citizens, when asked in various surveys, indeed classify it that way. The decisive thing is that certainly the government of Spain and the government of Germany are united in the objectives. We will have disagreements on what the paths are to reach that goal, but the goal of the European Union is for there to be a peaceful coexistence between
the Palestinian people and the people of Israel.
We see, above all, the immense suffering of the civilian population in the Gaza Strip. We share the opinion that this is not proportional to regarding the objectives it hopes to achieve. Rightly, the Israeli government, this war will cease when Hamas releases the hostages and lays down arms. It's a matter of hours. Hamas can end this war. But even so, we see that the means used are critical. We do not share the opinion of the government of Israel that in this way it can achieve its objective, that is to eliminate Hamas permanently. So we share the criticism regarding the procedure. We do not share the description of genocide.